The night was dark. Rain lashed against the windows of the train station. Inside, people hurried to their destinations. A businessman, Daniel Carter, checked his watch. It was 8:30 p.m., October 14th, 2018. He blended into the crowd, just another face in the bustling terminal. He boarded the 8:32 train, his usual commute home. At 9:10 p.m., the train pulled into the next station. Passengers disembarked, but Daniel Carter was not among them. He had vanished. Daniel Carter was a creature of habit. Every day he took the 8:32 train from his office in the city back to his suburban home. On that fateful night, witnesses saw him board the train. Security footage confirmed his presence. He sat in his usual seat by the window. Some passengers remembered seeing him, lost in thought or perhaps reading a newspaper. The train ride itself was uneventful. Just the rhythmic clatter of the wheels on the tracks and the gentle sway of the carriages. This time, however, the destination was a mystery. The disappearance of Daniel Carter sent shockwaves through the community. The police launched a full-scale investigation, determined to uncover the truth. They scoured the train, searching for any clue that could lead them to Daniel Carter. Detectives interviewed passengers, hoping someone had witnessed something, anything that could shed light on the mystery. Yet the question remained, where was Daniel Carter? The train station security footage became central to the investigation. Grainy images flickered on the detectives' screens, showing Daniel Carter blending seamlessly into the evening rush. He wore a dark suit, his usual attire, and seemed to be speaking on his phone, his brow furrowed in concentration. The footage showed him pausing briefly at the kiosk, seemingly purchasing a newspaper. The detectives meticulously tracked his movements through the station, following his path to Platform 4. The camera captured him boarding the train, his silhouette disappearing into the brightly lit carriage. The investigation turned its focus to the passengers on that fateful train journey. Detectives meticulously interviewed each individual, piecing together a fragmented narrative of the events leading up to Daniel Carter's disappearance. A young woman seated opposite Daniel recalled seeing him engrossed in his newspaper. An elderly gentleman seated nearby remembered seeing Daniel glance nervously at his watch. A businessman seated across the aisle remembered seeing Daniel engaged in an animated conversation on his phone. These seemingly insignificant details formed a disjointed puzzle, each piece hinting at a larger, more unsettling picture. The train conductor, a man weathered by years of service on the rails, provided a chillingly routine account of that night. He remembered checking tickets, his practiced eye scanning each passenger as they boarded the train. He distinctly remembered seeing Daniel Carter, his face a familiar sight on the daily commute. The conductor, lost in the rhythm of his routine, punched the ticket without a second glance. He continued down the aisle, his practiced routine unwavering, oblivious to the unsettling truth that would soon unfold. It was only when the train pulled into Oakwood Station, the platform lights illuminating the empty carriage, that he realized something was terribly wrong. The investigation hit a wall. Despite exhaustive interviews and meticulous forensic examination of the train, no trace of Daniel Carter could be found. The train, once a symbol of mundane routine, was now an enigma, a steel box that had seemingly swallowed a man whole. The lack of evidence only deepened the mystery, fueling speculation and fear. As days turned into weeks, the mystery of the vanishing businessman deepened, leaving investigators and the public alike grappling with a chilling question: what had happened to Daniel Carter on the 8:32 train? The investigation into Daniel Carter's disappearance was now in full swing, a relentless machine churning through evidence, witness statements, and speculation. Detectives, their faces etched with determination, worked tirelessly, fueled by coffee and the weight of the unknown. The train, a silent witness to the baffling event, was combed for any trace of the missing man. Forensic teams, armed with brushes, powders, and ultraviolet lights, searched for fingerprints, DNA, or any sign of a struggle. They scrutinized the seats, the windows, even the air vents, hoping for a single fiber, a stray hair, anything that could break the case open. The mystery, like the sprawling network of train tracks, seemed to stretch on endlessly with no clear destination in sight. As the investigation progressed, the detectives found themselves wading through a quagmire of dead ends and false leads. Every promising avenue seemed to lead to a brick wall, every potential witness offering more questions than answers. One lead took us to a nearby town where a man matching Daniel's description was reportedly seen at a local bar. However, after hours of investigation, the lead proved to be nothing more than a case of mistaken identity, fueled by the rumor mill and a healthy dose of small-town gossip. The leads, like whispers in the wind, dissipated as quickly as they emerged, leaving the detectives no closer to the truth. The more the detectives delved into Daniel Carter's life, the more enigmatic he seemed to become. His colleagues at the investment firm described him as a meticulous and reserved man, a creature of habit who rarely deviated from his routine. But beneath the veneer of normalcy, a more complex picture began to emerge. Interviews with his wife, Sarah, painted a portrait of a man grappling with hidden anxieties and mounting pressures. The detectives discovered that Daniel had been deeply in debt, his financial woes a closely guarded secret. The man who had seemingly vanished into thin air was, in reality, a man teetering on the edge, his life a tangled web of secrets, lies, and mounting despair. As weeks turned into months, the investigation into Daniel Carter's disappearance began to cool. The initial flurry of activity, the sense of urgency that had gripped the case, slowly dissipated, replaced by a grim acceptance of the unknown. The detectives, once brimming with determination, were now burdened by the weight of a seemingly unsolvable case. The public, once captivated by the mystery, moved on to the next sensational headline, their collective memory fading like a newspaper left in the sun. Despite the lack of progress, the case remained open, a haunting reminder of the fragility of life and the enduring power of the unknown. Until then, the case remained a chilling testament to the enduring power of mystery, a stark reminder that some answers, like some disappearances, defy all logic and explanation. Just when the case seemed destined to fade into the annals of unsolved mysteries, a glimmer of hope emerged from an unexpected source. A new detective, Emily Carter, recently transferred to the cold case unit, took an interest in the Daniel Carter file. Intrigued by the baffling circumstances and driven by a personal connection to the missing man's last name, she immersed herself in the details of the investigation. Emily, known for her meticulous attention to detail and her unorthodox approach to solving cases, decided to revisit the original evidence. As she scrutinized the grainy images, she noticed a peculiar detail that had been overlooked by the previous investigators. Could this be the missing piece of the puzzle? Was this the clue that would finally lead them to Daniel Carter? The discovery of the key in the security footage breathed new life into the stagnant investigation. Detective Emily Carter, her brow furrowed in concentration, held the grainy image of Daniel Carter's hand. The small silver key glinting under the harsh fluorescent lights of the station's security office. What did the key unlock? Was it connected to Daniel Carter's disappearance, or was it just another mundane detail in the life of a man who had seemingly vanished into thin air? Emily decided to retrace Daniel Carter's steps, hoping to find a lock that matched the key. She visited his office, his home, even the local coffee shop he frequented, meticulously checking every door, every drawer, every possible hiding place. Days turned into nights as Emily, driven by an unwavering determination to uncover the truth, followed the trail of the mysterious key, her every waking moment consumed by the case.
Emily's relentless pursuit of the key's significance led her deep into the labyrinthine world of Daniel Carter's life, uncovering hidden layers and unsettling truths.
She discovered that Daniel, despite his outward appearance of stability and success, was a man living a double life, his carefully constructed facade crumbling under the weight of his secrets.
Financial records revealed a web of risky investments, mounting debts, and clandestine meetings with shadowy figures in the city's underbelly.
Phone records, analyzed and reanalyzed, revealed a pattern of late-night calls to burner phones and encrypted messaging apps, suggesting a desperation to keep his affairs hidden from his family, his colleagues, and the authorities.
Emily delved into the world of high-stakes finance, navigating a treacherous landscape of insider trading, money laundering, and corporate espionage, her investigation uncovering a dark undercurrent beneath the city's glittering facade.
The deeper Emily dug, the more convinced she became that Daniel Carter's disappearance was not a random act, but a carefully orchestrated event, a desperate attempt to escape the consequences of his actions.
The key, she realized, was not just a clue to his whereabouts, but a symbol of the secrets he had guarded so fiercely. Secrets that someone, somewhere, was willing to kill for. While reviewing hours of security footage from the train station, Emily noticed a recurring figure lurking in the background of several shots.
The figure, always partially obscured by shadows or crowds, seemed to be observing Daniel Carter from a distance, their movements calculated, their presence unsettling.
Emily, her instincts honed by years of chasing shadows, sensed a connection between this mysterious figure and Daniel's disappearance.
She enhanced the footage, painstakingly isolating the figure from the grainy images, her eyes scanning for any identifying details.
The figure, tall and slender, always wore a wide-brimmed hat and a long coat, their face obscured by the shadows.
Emily could feel her pulse quicken with each frame, the mystery deepening with every tantalizing glimpse of the unknown observer.
Who was this shadowy figure?
Were they a private investigator hired to follow Daniel, a concerned friend or family member keeping tabs on his erratic behavior, or something more sinister?
The questions gnawed at Emily, fueling her determination to unmask the figure and unravel the secrets they held.
Emily decided to revisit the witnesses from the train, hoping that a fresh perspective might reveal something overlooked in the initial interviews.
She tracked down the young woman who had been seated opposite Daniel, the rhythmic rustle of his newspaper etched in her memory.
As Emily patiently questioned her, probing for any detail, however insignificant, the woman hesitated, her brow furrowed in thought.
There was something else.
She finally admitted, her voice barely above a whisper.
A man. I remember seeing a man board the train at the last minute, just as the doors were closing. He was tall, wearing a hat, and he sat in the seat next to Mr. Carter. I remember thinking it was strange, because the train was nearly empty, and yet he chose to sit right next to him.
Emily's pulse quickened.
Could this be the shadowy figure from the security footage?
Had he boarded the train at the last minute, his presence unnoticed by the conductor, his movements a calculated dance of stealth and opportunity? As Emily pieced together the fragments of evidence, a chilling possibility began to take shape in her mind. Daniel Carter's disappearance, once a baffling mystery, was starting to look less like a random act and more like a carefully orchestrated conspiracy.
The shadowy figure, the key, the frantic phone calls, the hidden debts. They were all threads in a complex tapestry of deceit, desperation, and danger. Someone had wanted Daniel Carter to vanish. Someone who knew his secrets. Someone who had the means and the motive to silence him permanently. But who?
Was it a ruthless business rival, a vengeful creditor, or someone closer to home, someone who had benefited from his disappearance?
Emily, driven by a fierce determination to uncover the truth and bring those responsible to justice, found herself on the trail of a conspiracy that stretched far beyond the disappearance of one man. The deeper she delved, the more she realized that Daniel Carter was not just a victim but a pawn in a dangerous game. A game with stakes far higher than she could have imagined.
Emily's relentless pursuit of the truth led her to the cold case archives, a labyrinth of forgotten files and unsolved mysteries. She had a hunch, a feeling deep in her gut that the answer to Daniel Carter's disappearance lay buried in the past, hidden among the dusty boxes and faded photographs.
She spent countless hours poring over old case files, her fingers tracing the yellowed edges of police reports, her mind searching for any connection, any echo of the present in the annals of the past. One evening, as the shadows lengthened in the archive room, Emily stumbled upon a file that sent chills down her spine. It was a missing person case from 1993, a quarter of a century earlier, a case that had long gone cold.
The missing person's name leapt off the page, its familiarity sending a jolt through her. Daniel Carter. Could it be a coincidence, a cruel trick of fate? Or was there a more profound, more unsettling connection between these two disappearances, separated by time but united by a single name?
Emily's heart pounded in her chest as she delved into the details of the 1993 case. The similarities were eerie, too numerous to ignore. Both Daniel Carters had vanished without a trace, both last seen on the 8:32 train to Oakwood, both described as successful businessmen leading double lives, both entangled in webs of deceit and financial ruin. It was as if history was repeating itself, a haunting echo reverberating through time.
As Emily meticulously compared the two Daniel Carter cases, she uncovered a series of chilling parallels that defied coincidence. The missing persons reports, though separated by 25 years, painted strikingly similar portraits of two men grappling with hidden anxieties, financial turmoil, and shadowy connections.
Both men had been reported missing by their wives, both described as devoted husbands leading seemingly ordinary lives. The witness statements from both cases revealed a pattern of unusual behavior in the days leading up to the disappearances. Colleagues spoke of cryptic phone calls, missed meetings, and a growing sense of unease. Friends and family members recounted overheard arguments, whispered anxieties, and a palpable fear lurking beneath the surface. It was as if both men had been living borrowed lives, their carefully constructed facades crumbling under the weight of their secrets.
The train conductors from both cases, though decades apart in their careers, provided remarkably similar accounts of the fateful journeys. Both remembered seeing a man matching Daniel Carter's description board the 8:32 train, both noting a sense of familiarity in his demeanor, as if he were a regular commuter. Both recalled checking his ticket, the mundane transaction etched in their memories, a chilling detail that linked the two disappearances across time. The more Emily immersed herself in the two Daniel Carter cases, the more convinced she became that she had stumbled upon something truly extraordinary, something that defied logical explanation.
Was it possible that these two men, separated by a quarter of a century, were somehow connected? Could they be the same person, trapped in a time loop, their lives destined to repeat the same tragic fate over and over again?
The idea seemed preposterous, the stuff of science fiction novels and late-night conspiracy theories. And yet the evidence, however improbable, continued to mount.
Emily uncovered a series of uncanny coincidences that extended beyond the circumstances of the disappearances. Both men had attended the same university. Both had worked for the same investment firm. Both had lived in the same suburban neighborhood.
Emily found herself questioning her own sanity. Was she chasing ghosts, her judgment clouded by the weight of the unsolved cases? Emily's relentless pursuit of the truth led her to a reclusive scientist, Dr. Anya Volkov, a pioneer in the field of quantum physics and temporal mechanics. Dr. Volkov, once a respected academic, had become a recluse, her groundbreaking theories dismissed as fringe science by the mainstream scientific community.
Dr. Volkov, I need your help. There are these uncanny parallels, eerie coincidences, and the impossible possibility of a man existing in two different timelines.
Dr. Volkov, her eyes twinkling with a mixture of curiosity and caution, listened intently as Emily laid out the details of her investigation.
It's a puzzle that has baffled seasoned detectives and defied rational explanation.
When Emily finished her account, a heavy silence descended on the room, broken only by the ticking of a vintage clock on the wall. Dr. Volkov, her voice a low murmur, spoke of theoretical wormholes, temporal anomalies, and the possibility of parallel universes colliding.
Some individuals, perhaps those with a unique quantum signature, might be susceptible to these temporal disturbances, their lives becoming entangled in the fabric of space-time.
It was a radical concept, a glimpse into a realm beyond human comprehension. But for Emily, it was the first glimmer of an explanation, a beacon of understanding in a sea of bewildering possibilities. The case of Daniel Carter, or rather the Daniel Carters, remained an open wound on the face of conventional detective work. Emily, despite her groundbreaking theory and tireless efforts, couldn't definitively prove the existence of a temporal anomaly.
The scientific community, while intrigued by my findings, remained skeptical, citing lack of empirical evidence and the extraordinary nature of my claims.
The official stance remained that the two disappearances, though eerily similar, were nothing more than a bizarre coincidence. The key, that tantalizing clue, was never linked to any location or lock. It remained in an evidence bag, a silent testament to the mystery it held.
The shadowy figure from the security footage, their identity never confirmed, became a ghost story whispered in the corridors of the police station. A chilling reminder of the unanswered questions that lingered like shadows.
Emily, though frustrated by the lack of closure, refused to let go. She kept the case files on her desk, a constant reminder of the man who walked into thin air, not once but twice.
The image of his face, a composite of the two Daniel Carters, stared back at me, a haunting enigma I couldn't ignore. I knew in my heart that the truth was out there, hidden somewhere in the fabric of time and space, waiting to be discovered.
The disappearance of Daniel Carter, a man seemingly living an ordinary life, forced everyone to confront a chilling reality that the line between the mundane and the inexplicable was thinner than we'd like to believe.
It served as a stark reminder that some mysteries, despite our best efforts, may never be fully understood.
The case challenged the very foundations of our perception, questioning the nature of time, identity, and the limits of human knowledge.
It forced us to confront the possibility that some answers lie beyond the realm of our current understanding, hidden in the shadowy corners of the universe where logic and reason dare not tread.
The public, initially captivated by the mystery, eventually moved on, their lives consumed by the immediacy of the present. But for those who had delved into the depths of the case, the memory of Daniel Carter lingered, a ghost story whispered in hushed tones, a cautionary tale about the fragility of our reality and the enduring power of the unknown. And so the 8:32 train to Oakwood continued its daily journey, its steel wheels clattering along the tracks, a symbol of both mundane routine and unsettling mystery.
Passengers boarded and disembarked, their lives a tapestry of hopes, dreams, and anxieties, oblivious to the secrets the train held, to the echoes of a mystery that refused to be silenced.
The case of Daniel Carter, the man who walked into thin air, became a chilling footnote in the annals of unsolved mysteries.
And as the train disappeared into the distance, swallowed by the fog and the falling night, one couldn't help but wonder, was Daniel Carter a passenger on that train? His presence a ghostly echo in the rhythmic clatter of the wheels? His fate forever bound to the 8:32 to nowhere?
The answer, like the man himself, remained lost in the swirling mist of time and the enduring mystery of that fateful night.